Welcome everyone. You're watching Super Sunday India-Pakistan Josh Special with me, Shivani Gupta. I'm joining you live outside the Dubai International Stadium, where India and Pakistan are going to be kicking off as their campaigns as far as Asia Cup 2022 is concerned. Now, when it comes to an India-Pakistan clash, there's not much that needs to be said about why it is so important, why it is important in this Asia Cup also, because remember, India has won this title 7 times and are hoping to defend it one more time this year. But when it comes to the campaign opener versus Pakistan, they will be feeling the heat, the pressure, that's mental problem as far as their loss against Pakistan, their arch rivals in the 2020 World Cup last year is concerned. So how do the two sides square up? We will, of course, be going across to our guests who are joining us. I have a full expert panel. Kiran More, former India cricketer, Nikhil Chopra, former India cricketer and senior cricket journalist and commentator Ayaz Memon joining us on the show. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for being with us. Kiran, let me start with you. Are you excited about this clash, especially because this is a beautiful opportunity for Rohit Sharma and his men to take revenge against Babur Azam's side at the same venue, that too?
Absolutely, Shivani. I think we need to take the revenge back because the last time we lost to them in the World Cup, it was the first game, and Pakistan played really well. You know, they dominated the whole match, and after a long time, they won against India. But I think India is well prepared. Definitely, they don't have the main fast bowler Shaheen Afridi. But India-Pakistan clash is always very interesting. I always look forward to it. When I played also, I experienced it. And now, tomorrow is going to be a big day for India-Pakistan.
Absolutely. I'm going to go across to our other guests in just a bit. But first up, let's set up this clash. As Kiran More knows, as many of our other experts know, you know, an India-Pakistan clash is bigger than most cricket matches. Some may have argued that over the last couple of years, you know, the fervour, also the banter, the ferocity of this clash may have waned down a little bit. The fans and the teams and the expectations may have become more mature. But the stakes are still pretty much very high. So let's set up this clash for you. And then, of course, we'll go across to our experts on exactly who is measuring up a little bit ahead this time.
The Indian lineup boasts of proven match winners like KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, Hardik Pandya and Ravi Ashwin, led by inspirational Rohit Sharma. There'll be fireworks at the very top. Kohli will be desperate to prove his mettle, while Surya Kumar will form the backbone of India's middle order. And then there are explosive players down the order who have ability to turn the game on its head. It's tough for any team to stop the men in blue on their day. And after the last T20 World Cup's thrashing at the hands of Pakistan, there'll be no dearth of motivation.
We get an opportunity once again to play against them, and it's a contest that we're all looking forward to, and we're all eager to go out there. And there might be history of how many times we've played, how many times each team has won, but it doesn't count for anything. It'll always start from zero.
But Pakistan too has got the monkey off its back with its first World Cup win over India last year. They will surely be high on confidence and would be hoping for a rerun. But their over-reliance on the top three of Babur Azam, Mohammad Rizwan and Fakhar Zaman and the lack of experience in the middle could leave them shaky in crunch situations.
जो पॉजिटिव चीज़ें थी उस मैच की वो हम लेके जाएंगे, स्पेशली माइंडसेट, और जिस तरह की हमने परफॉर्मेंसेस दी थी वो कोशिश करेंगे कि वैसा दोहराएं, लेकिन वो हिस्ट्री होगी, एक नया दिन होगा, नया मैच होगा.
In the lead up to the clash, both teams have been handed major injury blows, with Jasprit Bumrah and Shaheen Afridi being ruled out of the tournament. India will also miss the services of head coach Rahul Dravid, who is recovering from COVID, and NCA chief VVS Lakshman will lead the dressing room.
For the first time in a long time, the build-up to an India-Pakistan blockbuster clash is very different for India. Not because they're not going to be in with a chance against the Pakistani side, but because they've lost a match just before this in a very comprehensive manner, and that was the first World Cup loss to Pakistan. So that will hang heavy. But the Indian team, the Pakistan team, both maintain that that match is the past. Having said that, this is a golden opportunity for Rohit Sharma and his men to redeem themselves after the ignominy of that World T20 loss. With camera person Guneet Singh Vedi in Dubai, Shivani Gupta for CNN News 18. Let's go back across to our guest. Kiran, I want to start with you once again. As you were saying, and India-Pakistan, when in the times that you were playing, was as important as it is today for each player. They may try to downplay it, as both Rohit and Babur tried to do. I was in the press conferences that they held today, and we'll bring you a snippet in just a bit. But this is more mental, isn't it? This is not just about talent on the field. But tell me, mentally and on talent, who do you think has the upper hand?
Yeah, of course, Shivani. I think India is a better team, on paper, and got a more balanced team, and we have been doing very well. Even Pakistan, when the last time they beat us, they really played superb cricket. And when you look at their record at UAE, it's fantastic. They have only lost the finals against Australia in UAE. So I think it's going to be. I think I'll give a 60-40. 60 to India and 40 to Pakistan. But India-Pakistan match, you will play charity match, Shivani. It is interesting. It is tough. It's very, very competitive. And nobody wants to lose. And India-Pakistan, I think when I see the players, they are more friendly. There is no banter much, When we played, I think when you step on the field, there the sledging used to start from there, word go. Now I think I see the atmosphere much better. I think it is good for the spirit of the game. And we should respect each other on the field. That's more important. But definitely, you have to be very competitive to win any match, but you have to play end of the day with your brains. You just can't go aggressive and win a game. You have to be aggressive, plus you have to use your brain and play a quality cricket to win the game.
Yeah. And Nikhil, how much of a difference do you think it is making for Pakistan that not only did they not have Shaheen Afridi, even Mohammad Wasim Jr. has been ruled out, and Hassan Ali is expected to join the team only tomorrow. And when Babur Azam was asked about the playing 11, he said that we've already firmed up our playing 11. It's possibly too late for Hassan Ali, who picked up 2 wickets last time, even though he went for runs, to come into this side. Do you think those two factors are making India also the firm favourites in this match?
Without a doubt.
Nikhil, I think we're experiencing some audio issues with you. Let me take that question to Ayaz. Ayaz, if you heard me, why don't you take that question?
It's a bit of a problem for Pakistan because they've got a last-minute switch, so to speak. And remember, Hassan Ali didn't have a great match, great final against Australia last year. In fact, that is one of the reasons why he was kind of cast out of the team for a while, and then he's come back. He got a lot of support from his players. But I think ultimately this match is about what you mentioned at the outset. It's about handling the pressure. It's an India-Pakistan match. And I know that every time it comes up, we say the same things. But every time we see this match again, the pressure seems to keep growing further and further. It produces some outstanding cricket also, so it's not all negative. But it also means that the players have to be on top of their game, both in terms of skills as well as in terms of mental toughness and application and technique and whatever else.
What do you think is making these teams stand apart, Ayaz? If you were to pick one thing on both sides, what do you think is each side's strength and each side's weakness?
Well, I think if you had asked me this about 2 weeks back, I would have said the strength would be the fast bowling departments, but both teams have suffered. Shaheen Afridi is not playing for Pakistan. Jasprit Bumrah is not playing for India. I think even Harshal Patel, the T20 specialist, is not there. Mohammad Wasim is not there. So the pace bowling department is a little weak. Where India's strength is far better. I think proven match winners, yes, that's a, I would put it in inverted commas. But I think that there's far more experience at the international level in the Indian team. And I think most importantly, in the current context, better all-rounders. Hardik Pandya in top form, uh, Ravindra Jadeja, Dinesh Karthik, if I might use him, include him
Yes.
as an all-rounder. So these are going
Yes.
to be strengths for India. The Indian batting lineup looks very formidable. And I think Kiran mentioned at the start that Pakistan's batting, or you mentioned at the start that Pakistan's batting lineup is so heavily dependent on the top three. That said, let me tell you that India's top order has a few questions. One is KL Rahul, who's come back after a long layoff. He didn't look in the best of forms against Zimbabwe, so he needs to really find his, feet and his rhythm going. And then, of course, there's Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
Everybody wants him in the team, but to start delivering performances which convince everybody, selectors, fans, and whoever else supports him, that he should be in the plane to Australia for the World T20. This is the opportunity. In many ways, this is a dress rehearsal, the Asia Cup, for the teams playing here, for how they will play or how they have to shape up for the World T20. And more than anybody else, this is it's a big challenge for Virat Kohli.
Yeah, I was going to reserve the chat over Virat Kohli for just a little bit later, but you're right. You cannot talk about this match, this Asia Cup, without talking about Virat Kohli. And you very rightly mentioned KL Rahul coming back as well. Interestingly, Rohit Sharma was asked both of these questions today. He was asked about Virat Kohli. So he said that, listen, from where I am looking at Virat Kohli, he looks good. He looks in good touch. He says that it's not like Virat has completely changed. He's the same guy, but because he's coming back after a break, there is a certain amount of freshness to Virat Kohli. And ultimately, of course, Virat will be hungrier than anybody else to prove that he is, the man and the batsman that he is, that we all know him for. Secondly, interestingly, he was also asked about the combinations, Nikhil, that the Indian team has been trying. And one of those is, in the absence, for example, of KL Rahul, the opening combinations. There's just so much to choose from. And Rohit Sharma mentioned that, they all 15 are in the mix. So if I were to ask you, what are the, and he said categorically that, we have made a decision, a categorical decision, that we are going to try things. We are going to mix it up. We are going to try and fail and succeed. And that's how we'll know what we want to do by the time the World Cup comes by in October. According to you, what are those combinations and what are those changes and what are those trials that have worked for Team India, especially in this format over the last 6 to 8 months?
Shivani, I think in the T20 format, Rohit is also trying that perfect combination in the 11 and, of course, keeping in mind the T20 World Cup that's going to be played in Australia. So I think that combination is going to be very, very important. And I think if you're going to be playing in Australia, in the back of his mind, and I know this, and I can say it pretty confidently, that there's a good chance that even Virat might look to open in that combination that they're going to be trying, different sort of permutation and combination. But also, the thought process in the camp is to have your 5 bowlers, and of course, Hardik can come and roll his arm over. It'll be a blessing, because if you look at the 20 overs format, 120 balls, I think Rohit is coming from a point of view that the 120 balls should be shared between 6 batsmen, and you have the 5 bowlers and the 6th option from the other 6 batsmen who can bowl, and that is the Hardik for you as well. And you got a match finisher in Dinesh Karthik, the kind of batting that he's been doing as well. So to me, I think it's pretty much set. I mean, this could be, I'm saying, a blessing that you don't have some of your senior bowlers in the fray playing in the Asia Cup, but it's also an opportunity for some of the others to seal their ticket for the T20 World Cup. So to me, the biggest thing would be you might see Virat Kohli open the innings as well in one of those games to see how it goes. Because at the end of the day, if you look at our top 3, 1, 2 and 3, you don't
Rohit
want the
Sharma
top
did
3 to be
mention
batting
that
at...
we are a team and a system that gives everybody a chance, and we give the chance to people to raise their hands and say, I'm also somebody who can do this. And he said that, over the last few months, several people have done that. And therefore, it is a problem of plenty for them. And everybody has performed in whatever role or whatever challenge was thrown to them. he also said, Babur said his playing 11 is more or less set. Rohit Sharma said his playing 11 is not set. He kept it a surprise. So we don't know. As you said, there could be some surprises up their sleeve. But speaking of the Rohit Sharma, I put a question to both Rohit and Babur, the two talismanic captains for both the arch rivals. And this is what they had to say when they looked back at that World Cup clash between the two. Listen in.
For a rivalry like India-Pakistan, how much did the loss in the last match in a World Cup, which was our first loss to Pakistan in a World Cup, hang on the team? Even though it's been some time, does that still get discussed and looked back at? And before this clash, do things from that match get talked about of what went wrong and things like that?
We do talk about our losses. There's no doubt. I mean, that's how we want to improve as a team. What we didn't do right, what we did right, and of course that loss did hurt us at that point. But I think it's been a while since that game has been played. So for us, we've got another challenge in front of us now, and there's no point thinking about that loss at the moment. We need to think what we didn't do as a team. Particularly on that night, and since then we've played a lot of games. We've tried to correct those mistakes in the games that we played after that.
बाबर, आपने बोला कि ज़्यादा गर्मी नहीं है इंडिया-पाकिस्तान क्लैश की. पिछली बार तो आपने पहला वर्ल्ड कप मैच जीता इंडिया के खिलाफ जो लास्ट मैच था, तो आपकी बार तो आपका बिल्डअप बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग होना चाहिए. आप तो अंडर प्ले कर रहे हो क्लैश को, आप उसको यूज नहीं कर रहे हो पिछले मैच को.
देखें, वो मैच गुजर गया. अब नया मैच आ रहा है और नई कंडीशंस है और नए मैचेस हैं और बिल्कुल कॉन्फिडेंस होता है. और ये नहीं कि हम बड़ी बड़ी बातें करें, ज़रूरी नहीं है बड़ी बातों से कुछ होता है. मेरे ख्याल से जितना आप ग्राउंड में अपने आप को दिखाएंगे उतना ज़्यादा अच्छा है.
All right, so you heard both captains there of what they make of how they're going to, how they're going to be affected by the last match, which was, whatever said and done, Kiran More, it was a pretty bad loss for India. They lost face really, and it wasn't a great campaign for them anyways. Possibly where Virat Kohli's big miseries really started, and now it is a chance almost a year later for him to revive back, and everybody's eyes are on him. But how much do you think this match will depend on both captains, Kiran? Rohit versus Babur. Both are going to be very crucial for their teams, isn't it?
See, for Rohit, he's a new captain of Indian team. The last time Virat Kohli was captaining, and Rohit is, he's won so many IPL trophies, and he's a very shrewd captain. He doesn't show much. He's a cool guy, and he's a quality player. And Babur Azam as well. He's one of the top international players in world cricket. I think you see after so many Pakistani cricketers, he looks a solid player. And you see, he played in press conference, he did very nicely. I said, you don't have to talk too much. You need to show everything on the pitch, And that's what he's going to do that, And it's going to be an interesting contest. And talk about Virat Kohli. See, Virat Kohli is a quality player, and Shivani is a bio bubble thing. I have been through that bio bubble, not playing, but as a support staff and spending a lot of time. It's not easy mentally, and I feel that Virat got affected up because of that. I feel that every cricketer played, but some players have got affected really. And I thought, and I feel that this Asia Cup, you will see a different Virat Kohli, and I want him back. He's a legend. He has performed very well, and India especially want Virat Kohli back in special good form.
Yes. Kiran, you're so on the money, because even Rohit today talked about how mental fitness and especially post-COVID, everybody, he said, has been through so much that mental fitness, Nikhil, has become extremely important. And as much as you talk about physical fitness when a player comes back, let's say after an injury or after a layoff or after a bad patch of form, today it is mental fitness and clarity that people are talking about.
Shivani, is very important. We talk about mental fitness, and especially in sport, to go out there, to try and follow your processes. As there's a lot of concentration involved in it. If you stop enjoying your day out when you're on the park, it's like going through the motion. And in sport, you need to be controlling your emotions, you need to be controlling your processes, because you can't control the result. And so you need to be 100% out there mentally. And I think Virat coming after a break, some of our other senior guys coming after a break, Rohit coming after a break, you know, he had that brief break as well. It makes a world of a difference. And I know you just come back from a break as well. So that mental freshness is very important to go out there and be at your best.
Okay, I wanted to ask you again a question that was posed to the Pakistani captain today. The fact that this match is happening in Dubai, and Dubai is a happy hunting ground for Pakistan. Of course, they beat India here last time around for their historic win. Do you think that is going to play a part?
Yes, I think that's a big psychological advantage that they have, because they know that they've done so well on these grounds, or this ground particularly, and against India, the massive victory that they enjoyed last time in the T20 World Cup. So that's going to be a big advantage. I also just wanted to make the point that Babur Azam is, in my opinion, and by consensus, is being touted as the best all-format batsman in the world today. So there's pressure on him to perform to his potential or his reputation, and of course also lead the team. But it also means that people or players like Virat Kohli, you know, in 2019 World Cup, ODI World Cup, Virat Kohli was top of the pops and Babur Azam was somebody aspiring to break into the big four. Today, Babur Azam is perhaps the luminary there with Joe Root. Virat Kohli and Kane Williamson are not in that preeminent position. But Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, there are so many other players from India who could get into or break into that Fab Four or the Big Four club, as we call it. So Babur Azam is also going to feel the heat. It's not as difficult to reach the higher pedestal as to remain there and maintain that position. And I think Babur, in that sense, will be feeling that heat. If he does well in this situation, then, you know, hats off to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He will have a lot of pressure, although he doesn't show it. He is also a very cool customer and plays down everything, his form, his stature, the fact that he's possibly above Virat Kohli right now, and who could have imagined that, as you very rightly said just 3 years ago. So gentlemen, I do thank all of you for joining us. A reminder for our viewers that I will be live from Dubai before the India-Pakistan blockbuster clash on Sunday as well. So join us at 6 p.m. in the evening with our experts who will be joining us again, and with a whole host of fans with me. But talking of fans, I want to end this special broadcast with a conversation I had with India and Pakistan fans today. Thanks a lot for watching, and take a look at this. Goodbye for now. It doesn't need to be said, there is nothing quite like the atmosphere before an India-Pakistan match. I'm in Dubai and I'm surrounded by Indian fans on one side, Pakistan fans on the other side. Some are based here, some have travelled. Of course, Ram Babu is a famous Indian fan who travels all along the team. This time around, अच्छा लग रहा है कि जो पिछली बार की हार थी पाकिस्तान के साथ, उसका बदला होगा?
बिल्कुल, वो बदला तो शायद हम भूल गए हैं, क्योंकि वो था, एक मूवमेंट आया था, लेकिन पाकिस्तान को मतलब आईसीसी टूर्नामेंट में जीतने का मौका मिला। चलो अच्छा है, वो अच्छा खेले, वो जीते, लेकिन ये टूर्नामेंट थोड़ा चेंज हो गया। ये एशिया कप के चैंपियन हम 7 टाइम रहे हैं और दिस टाइम भी चैंपियन रहेंगे, और पहला मैच ही हमारा पाकिस्तान के साथ है, तो भाईचारा हमारा अच्छा है। इंडिया पाकिस्तान का मैच ऐसे दोबारा होते रहे और हमको भी मौका मिले, सब लोगों को मौका मिले देखने का। बहुत अच्छा टीम बनी हुई है हमारी, और वर्ल्ड कप के लिए ये प्रिपरेशन बहुत अच्छी रहेगी, स्पेशली विराट कोहली के लिए। हिंदुस्तान से क्या, पाकिस्तान से क्या, ऑल ऑफ वर्ल्ड से यही एक वो आ रहा है, विशेष
फॉर्म वापस आए,
धमाका करें और टीम इंडिया को जिताने में योगदान।
तो आप लोग भी विराट कोहली की बैटिंग देखने के लिए खुश हैं?
जी जी, बिल्कुल चाहते हैं कि विराट दोबारा फॉर्म में आए और पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ ना आए, उसके बाद आए और अच्छी तरीके से आए और हर टीम के खिलाफ परफॉर्म करें, लेकिन पाकिस्तान के साथ नहीं करे तो ज़्यादा बेहतर है।
पिछले T20 वर्ल्ड कप की तरह इस एशिया कप में भी दोनों इंशाल्लाह हमारे जो ओपनर हैं, पहले
तो बार बार नहीं होता ना पाकिस्तान से।
हमें उम्मीद है,
इस दफा हम ये चाहते हैं कि 10 विकेटों से ना जीतें, 2-3 आउट हो जाए।
इंशाल्लाह मैच अच्छा होगा, बहुत अच्छा मैच होगा। जिस तरह की मैच से तवक्का लगाई जा रही है, उसी तरह का मैच होगा।